You love production. I'm in a corner. I think it's time for
Production Corner. Production Corner. Production.
Hey? Yeah? Nice. Hello, welcome to Production Corner with me, Steve Wilkinson, and welcome to the new home of Production Corner. This is actually a corner of my old studio, which I thought I'd repurpose for these videos. I hope you like it. I don't think the camera can pick up, but in the background you'll see these very lovely Scrabble lights that actually read the words Prod Corner. And for all of you clever clogs out there, you'll know that that's actually my Twitter handle, @ProdCorner. Very well placed there for a bit of a promo. Now, before anyone gets all defensive on me, I am a pop man, okay? I love stuff that's in the charts. I'm a big fan of pop, R&B, soul. At a push, I'll even listen to house. I have noticed a trend in modern pop mixing that is starting to get me a little bit annoyed. But my gripe is how loud and how bright vocals are in mixes now. Now, I think there are several reasons for this, in fact quite a long list, so I'm going to try and go through as many as I can. I am a big fan of engineers and producers who work on pop music, and by pop I mean popular. This isn't necessarily just the genre pop. Let's be honest, the vocal is always key, yeah? If there's a lead vocal in a track, whatever genre, it has to be audible, and it is the main focal point for any song. Of course it is. Take, for example, a technique such as parallel compression or New York compression. This has been around for, like, I would say since the 70s, as far as I am aware. And it's a really popular technique for a multitude of instruments. But on a vocal, it can be both a blessing and a curse, blending together a heavily compressed vocal with a clean vocal to get a very slammed, in-your-face vocal. Now, I'm a big fan of that, I am. But because of the amount of pushing we can do now with the extra headroom, the bit rate, just digital processing in general, I think it's gone beyond a joke now. I think it's just a case of getting lazy, and people will do that rather than ride a vocal or properly track a vocal, being careful of gain staging and working with the singer's placement. It's just like, don't worry, when it comes to the mix, I'll just slam the vocal as close to your face as I can possibly get it. All problems will be solved. Sibilants, plotists, love them. Now, I think one of the first reasons is actually the singers themselves. And I mean no disrespect to singers out there, I claim to be one myself. So how many times has this happened to you? Okay, so guys, what do you think of the mix? Excuse me! Yes, vocalist? I would like my voice louder, please. Okay, cool. All right, let me just take it up a little notch. That's not loud enough! Okay, well, how loud do you want it then? How loud would you like it? I'd like it 10 louder. 10 louder. Okay, cool, we'll do it. 10 loud. Decibels? What? Give me some guy like, no, just louder. Louder. Keep going. That's it. That's loud enough. Now, in that situation, you kind of just got to do your best to find a happy medium, because blending a vocal in a track and getting it to sit right is an art form. It's actually really difficult. But if you're working with a vocalist that is very opinionated, that can make it even worse. I used to like being a vocalist. That's so cold. That's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Now, Adele will have a large team behind her, especially when she works with so many different engineers and artists and writers. And of course, in that situation, it's not only the artists themselves who are having an input on the vocal level, it's her management, it's her A&R team, it's her marketing, it's everyone. She is the selling point of those records. And I believe in this modern day, there is that conversation in the listening stage where people are going, well, we could have the instruments louder, but really, everyone's going to be listening on laptop speakers and or headphones, and the vocal needs to be the loudest thing. Like, a lot louder. Yeah. Honestly, if I was one of the musicians, I'd be like, what was the point? What was the point? Now, of course, I'm not going to sit here and say that vocals shouldn't be loud in a mix. There are perfect examples of where a heavily compressed vocal or limited vocal is just so wonderfully done that you just go, yeah, that really works. But in the case of some tracks, I just feel the vocal has lost its musicality. And in fact, it affects the groove and the feel of the record. I like vocalists. Come on, I like vocalists. The sign of a great mixer is someone who can say when they need to process and when they shouldn't process. We all know that a mix is only as good as what's been tracked in the first place. They'll take a microphone. Now I've got a humble Shure SM58 here, can be any mic. And too many times I see vocalists be like, is this good? Is that good? Is that good? Bad vocal recording technique is another offender, okay? If you get given a vocal that's been recorded really close up or too far away, then you're already losing the battle. You've then got the problems with plosives and or sibilants, and then you're processing heavier in the mix stage to compensate for that. Why is it so loud? Why? There are many producers and engineers who want to get that close-up vocal, but unless you've got a great mic or the correct mic, a singer with fantastic technique and a good signal chain to handle that, and there's no headroom to do anything with it. So you've lost all fidelity, all clarity, and you're having to process so heavy to get the sound you want. But the worst thing you can have is when in a session, you've been given a backing track or an instrumental and you're having to track the vocals on top. I really do believe that this is why this trend of loud vocals in modern mixing has occurred. Although I'm very confident that over the years there have been times where a session has been moved from one studio to another and they've then done the vocals here and moved it over here. But in an age where it's so easy to send backing tracks to other people, instrumentals to other people, even I know some people even do sessions over Google Hangouts and things like that, which is crazy. But getting that balance of a lead vocal that hasn't been recorded in the same space or using the same equipment, etc., to fit on top of a backing track, that is an art form. I think there is a disconnect there, and it's difficult to find a balance that really works, because if you weren't on the original arrangement or part of it, you don't have that emotional connection with the development of the song, and I think it's harder to find the middle ground and the balance. And it's such a challenge to get it right. You throw in reverb at it, you try this mic, you try that mic, you try to CQ, and for some reason it just doesn't quite fit. And it takes a long time to get that balance right. But I also think that situation is an offender. I know the vocal's supposed to be the loudest thing. I get that. But I can't hear anything else. That's the problem. And there is a real fine line between a consistent vocal and a vocal that's consistent, but also has some sort of dynamic performance to it. And you want the vocal to have impact, and you want it to have an emotional connection with the listener. Let's be honest, that's what the vocal is. That's what it does. And one of the ways we can create an emotional connection with the listener is by having the vocals very present, very bright, and very slammed in their face, okay, in the mix. But there has been times recently when I've been listening on the radio in the car, and the disconnect between the vocal and the music is really concerning. It's genuinely concerning. There's no groove, there's no feel, and it just really does feel like a vocal on top of a backing track. That's not good. That's not good production. Doesn't matter how good the vocals sound, you still want it to blend with the music well, you know, to create feel, to create a sense of occasion in the music and dynamic range and just movement. Otherwise, it's just karaoke. And there's a difference between creating a connection with the singer and the singer invading your personal space. I am the singer. You will listen to me and only me. Yes, I am the singer. You also have to be very aware that there are always trends in music, and we all strive to learn these trends and techniques and embed them in music. That's just what happens. Take, for example, the boy band era of the late 90s and early noughties. For me, this is where pop production went up a level. It's where technology was becoming really readily available for so many people, and you could hear that people were just pushing it as far as they could go. You know, they were just working in the box and having this headroom from digital processing, and you can really hear it in those records. But even then, the vocal wasn't loud necessarily. It wasn't too loud, big difference. It wasn't too loud, it was just right. It just sat in a good place. But there are times the vocal's just piercing and it's actually just really fatiguing to listen to. No! At least we not forget that damaging frequency that causes people with tinnitus to shake in their boots. And that's the devil's frequency. 4K! 4,000 hertz! 4,000 hertz! But it's all very well and good talking about it, but why don't I show you? Please note, the next section of the video is best enjoyed with a pair of headphones.
Okay, so here we have a fairly well-known pop track that was released last year by a fairly well-known female artist. Now, before I begin, I am a big fan of this lady. I think she's an incredible advocate for British music, and I really like how she handles the sort of status of celebrity. Now, this particular track, in the beginning, I love what they've done with the vocal. The way it sits, it really, really engages the listener. And for me, it's really personal. It's like she's right there with you. She's right there in the room. The piano's very distant, and the whole track really just formulates around that lead vocal melody. But it's when we get to the chorus around this section here that I feel the track, in my opinion, that vocal is so pushed that I feel it loses its engagement and with the audience member. And for me, the feel of the track, I don't know, it's just pushed a bit much, and you might disagree with that because I do believe this record did quite well. #1 everywhere in the whole entire planet. But again, this is just personal opinion. Anyway, let's listen to the beginning bit.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet.
So if you are listening with headphones, you can really hear, especially my voice is going straight through into the audio interface. I'm sorry if the vocal quality isn't as good as it should be, but you can hear her voice. It's already very bright, very present, quite a bit of compression on her voice, but it sits nicely. The piano's really ambient, so the emotion is there.
I've forgotten how it felt before the world fell at our feet. There's such a difference.
On that word difference, for me, when you hear that hard consonant, when she sings that D, for me, that's where the 4K comes through. It's where that toppy frequency that just really hits me. And it's that throughout the track that, for me, isn't subdued enough, that it's kind of piercing for me. It's hard to listen to. And that's where I'm at. Okay, for some, they might not react to how I do, and that's totally cool, but it's that I'm listening for. It's those words that really hit me. Let's listen to this chorus. Wow. I mean, she's in the room. Okay, she's right there in front of me now. That's hard-hitting vocal. I mean, to get a vocal so pushed, so bright, is incredible engineering. I mean, absolutely amazing. But for me, that doesn't work. I'm really struggling to listen to that. Now, just to kind of prove my point, I hope, and again, this is just personal opinion, I'm going to put in a Brainworks the XLV2. It's a multi-band mastering limiter. And what I just wanted to experiment with is a couple of sections where what I'm trying to do is create a blend that I think personally is slightly more musical. Okay, so again, personal taste aside and sort of marketing aside, this is purely what I believe is a better blend. So what I've done is I've boosted the sides by about sort of half a dB there roughly, or 0.69, and I've actually taken down the mid volume using the mid control here on the summing amp game by about 3/4 of a dB, I guess we could say that, really subtly. Okay, and I ask you please to really listen, because it's kind of hard to hear this difference, but that's what I'm getting at. I just feel it's pushed just that little bit too much. So let's just see what happens when I throw this in.
To tell you I'm sorry for everything that I've done, but when I call you never seem to be home.
Okay, so hopefully you could hear there when I was switching between the two, again on those big phrases, those big vowels, those big consonants, when she's really getting into the top of the range on the melody there, for me, the blend was stronger. The engineers involved on this album are top of the game. Yeah, with credentials I could only ever dream of, some of them, okay? And I've been lucky to work with top artists, but these guys are the best of the best, Grammy Award winners. And they know what they're doing, and they did this on purpose. On purpose. This is a creative decision to really impact the audience and the target market that this artist is sort of selling to. And I totally get that. So this is purely a personal sort of observation.
And what are we going to do about it, guys? You know, people like loud vocals, and that's totally cool. People love to experiment with processing and pushing digital software to its limit. I'm totally cool with that. But I want to create that sense of connection between the vocal and the music again. I don't want it to be about, you know, getting that loudest vocal possible. And that's what we did in mastering, you know. We're just getting tracks louder and louder and louder. And it seems to me like we're going through that same sort of process with vocals. Just get it as loud as you possibly can and hope for the best. Now, I'm definitely a fan of loud vocals when it works. I enjoy loud pop vocals. But guys, let's just try and get the balance right, yeah? You know? Let's just try and make a difference. I tell you what, guys, if you have any examples of a track that you think also follows the trend of the super loud vocal, please put it in a comment below. I'd love to hear some of the examples you can think of, and if it's just me, I'll stop worrying about it. But if you believe this is a genuine trend, you know, a trend of modern music that could get out of control, then highlight some examples, you know. Let's all have a listen. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I'm off to go and track some vocals. 4,000 hertz, 4,000 hertz.
Production Corner.